Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Nasstar's Webcast Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about the art of IT outsourcing, and this is a part of our Nasstar Thought Leader Series. With me today, my name is Guy. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Nasstar, and with me today are our speakers, CEO of Nasstar Nigel Redwood and Nigel Powell, our guest journalist, technical writer at the Sunday Times, and commentator at Sky TV. Nigel Redwood, Nigel Powell, gentlemen, hello.
Good afternoon, Guy.
Today we're going to talk about the art of IT outsourcing here. Now, few quick questions, few quick points. We're going to be talking around the subject using the SWOT model, a SWOT analysis. We'll be talking about the strengths, the opportunities, the weaknesses, and the threats there. Let's begin by talking about, if you do have any questions, by the way, as we're going through the webinar, look for the Ask Question button. If you click that and type your question in as you think of them, we'll answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. Now, moving on to the beginning of our presentation, let's define IT outsourcing. Let's define what we're talking about, really. So, Nigel, I'm going to begin this and talk to you first of all, because I think Nigel Powell isn't quite with us still. Nigel, how would you define IT outsourcing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very large subject, Guy. I mean, for me, it's about removing non-revenue or non-fee earning activity from within your business, i.e., removing any cost that isn't associated with delivering value or value add to the organisation. So IT outsourcing, as with any outsourcing, is about handing over non-core business activities to experts, experts that focus daily on such an activity, so that it can give you a competitive edge over your competition who still try and do it internally.
Okay, how would we, if we had to talk about the kinds of activities if we had to define what elements of IT are being outsourced there, to put some context onto the conversation, Nigel, what would you say they are?
Well, if you look through our client base, Guy, we have a whole range of clients. Some clients will look for an end-to-end service, whereby we're delivering the actual physical compute on the desk, all of the local network, the wide area connectivity, then the hosting and delivery of all of their applications out of our data centers. And that really takes care of the delivery of the IT to the end user. But also many customers then want us to go up the value chain and also get involved in the actual business process and application consultancy and development of their ways of working. Because what's key with IT, 80% of it within any organization is the same as your competitor, and there's 20% of it that will really give you a differentiator. And the idea of outsourcing is that we can take care of the 80% and really facilitate you to focus on that 20% that will give you the differentiator. So it really can be an end-to-end outsource, or some clients choose very much just to outsource a specific element. So they might have all of the local infrastructure covered, but they need all of their data and their applications securing centrally in data centers and delivering back to them and managed. So there is a range of services that people can outsource where IT is involved.
Just to touch on the main key drivers of why people are outsourcing, the one that I hear the most here, Nigel, is I just don't want to manage it. It's not my business. As increasingly as IT becomes a core function, it becomes the business. You could be in textiles, you could be in legal services or financial services, but increasingly, IT as a business is everything. And it's becoming a lot more common, for people to say, I just don't want to manage it.
It is becoming more complex, but at the same time, it's becoming more commodity as well, and which is giving the consumer or the business many more opportunities and things to take advantage of. For me, I mean, where we've specialised over the years is actually focusing on specific vertical markets. And what you find in each vertical sector, there'll be different drivers. So if you take the legal sector, for example, there could well be regulatory pressures and drivers that compel a practice to look to outsource, because delivering an in-house IT solution to the SRA requirements in terms of continuity and disaster recovery can be very onerous on an in-house IT department and expensive. Same with any regulated sector, really. But there can be also compelling events. So, downtime, loss of key personnel. We've had clients that have come to us because, they've had an IT manager for, let's say, 15 years, and he wants to retire or move on, and, they can't see a way forward without that person. So loss of key personnel is often a driver. Security breaches, the need and the worry over cyber security continues to be a driver for a reason that people outsource, because to keep data safe and secure in this day and age is a continual battle that never stops, and to keep abreast of all of the security requirements from an in-house perspective it is very difficult. Other reasons to adopt outsourcing, it could be business strategy. For example, if you've got a firm that's on a M&A strategy, then having IT outsourced or hosted centrally can really facilitate that mergers and acquisitions strategy by bringing your new business on very quickly. And efficiency, the life cycle of your IT hardware, internal IT department may be struggling to keep abreast with the business needs and things like that. So there's all kinds of compelling drivers to move to outsourcing.
It's I guess it really depends on what's important to you in the business, what elements of the technology is relevant to the business you need to retain in-house, and what you can just get rid of, what you don't need to manage. Lots of different drivers there.
Okay, why don't we move on now to the opportunities that come from properly executed outsourcing. I think people would like to hear a little bit more about, why outsourcing is more than just hosting. What is it that's the added value that is special about this relationship?
Yeah, so hosting or infrastructure as a service, like taking something off Azure, for example, for me that just replaces buying tin and putting it in a data room yourself. You still need a skilled person to overlay those applications internally, and you still need a team to then support the end users, and you still need a strategic hat to decide where you're going to take your IT. So just simply hosting or co-locating really is just a different way to buy tin. What outsourcing is about is removing the non-value add from within your business, but embracing the latest technologies. It's about having a partner that will look after all the non-value add, keep the lights on, keep it backed up, keep it compliant, do your DR processes and plans, but a partner that will then work with you on your business process and how to get the best out of your IT and how to deliver efficiencies and how to go to market and deliver a service to your end user better. And that's really where the opportunities of outsourcing just beats the standard hosting type offering.
I mean, I think that one of the things that's the biggest confusion about doing outsourcing properly is this idea that you should only do it to save money. What can you give us some sort of idea of how the most intelligent decisions are made around that, which exclude the monetary aspect?
Yeah, I mean the drivers can always be different from one client to the next, and it will depend on your incumbent IT department and how you deliver IT. There is times when we will deal with businesses. Let's say there's a 300 end user business, and over the years they might have grown through acquisition, and as a result, their IT department is bigger than it should be in terms of it's got lots of different applications that it's looking after. It's got lots of complicated infrastructure and things like that. So in that scenario, cost savings can be a correct driver. However, I would say the most common things are the focus on the value add. doing this, what opportunity, revenue opportunity or efficiency opportunity is there to take advantage of, and what strategic strengths can it bring? The removal of risk is always a massive driver for me, and an opportunity to de-risk your business in an ever more tightly regulated world. For me, is absolutely paramount. And looking at the potential fines over data leakage and things like that are coming in over the next 12 to 24 months, boards of businesses and partnerships are going to have to look at that really seriously. And business strategy, IT has to be an enabler. And there's so many times when we talk with potential clients where IT over the years becomes the opposite to an enabler, and really stagnates the delivery of a business strategy. So yeah, cost, yes, but if your only focus is cost, then the value won't be such a big one. So for me, look at the added value, look at the removal of risk, and look at the IT becoming an enabler. That's where the opportunities lie.
I mean, how important? Sorry, Nigel. How important do you think this issue of expertise is in terms of selecting the right kind of partner? I mean, I think again, a lot of people look to outsourcing as a quick and dirty solution. Now you've mentioned, that it should be the right kind of partnership and all that, but really, is that it's more than just getting on with him, isn't it, over a cup of tea? I assume.
I think expertise is really, really important. And I mean, if you take a service level agreement with most outsourcing models, it'll say a business critical issue has to be responded to within the next minutes or hours, and so on and so forth. The problem with any SLA like that is the person receiving the call and looking after the end user has to understand what is important and what is business critical. So take, for example, one user not being able to print. Doesn't sound that business critical. Take a fee earner that's got to be in court in half an hour and they can't print. Yeah. That's business critical. Same with a secretary that can't get her foot pedal to work, or within an accountancy firm, somebody who can't submit a tax return on the 31st of January. Things like that are absolutely business critical, but any SLA won't be able to capture it. So what you've got to rely on is the experience of your account manager, of your service desk, to understand what's important. And you can only do that if the people that are looking after the end users know the business of the people that they're looking after. And so for me, vertical specialization of the partner you choose, I think, is really important. And I couldn't stress that enough, to be honest.
Yeah, right. I mean, we all hear about the disaster stories, of course, the outsourcing costs that balloon, because of that, probably that lack of integration in the whole project. But from your experience over 14 years, what are the success stories? Can you give us some sort of ideas of where it really works well in any particular instance? Confidentiality allowing.
Yeah, I mean, many success stories. To be honest, we've worked with enterprise businesses where we just become their enabler for what they call startup businesses, if you like. So they put a particular business idea in a startup mode and their business unit, and our cyber solution can enable all the establishment of that. And that's where enterprise is. If you look at innovation within any company, the problem with innovation is you've got this oil tanker, which is your business, that can't change direction easily, that can't go left and right or flip or capsize in terms of being able to innovate. So where we've seen enterprises really take advantage of this is they kind of ring fence a P&L and a model to start a new business unit, and they use this outsourcing model to really give them the ability to go left, go right, and things like that. So I see that as a lot of success stories. But then down on the SME, on the smaller end of the scale, equal similar success stories where people have really really enabled business. I mean, we've grown with a lot of our customers. I know customers whereby we started with them where they've had 5 employees and they're now over 300 employees, and we've really grown with each other during that. And for me, that's when you get the biggest success story, when you're part of a business that really where you can be a key part to growing it and establishing it.
Yeah, the moving to scale. Yeah, that it's a truism, isn't it? Really, that outsourcing can really get you from 0 to 100, incredibly quickly without much pain if it's done properly.
We've got a few questions, by the way, gentlemen. Just looking at them, I get the impression we have a few legal gentlemen in the group here. You say you've got experience in the legal sector. What is the benefit of this to your clients on a day-to-day basis, Nigel Redwood?
What's the benefit of the experience? It's back to knowing what's important to the client. When they phone up and they've got a problem with digital dictation, it's about straight away knowing why and how they use digital dictation. Or let's say from a strategic perspective, your case management, you've had your case management for many years. You can talk to your business relationship manager about what the trends in the industry are and where people are going with case management and CRM and things like that. So it's about the end user experience but also the strategic experience. That if you know the sector, you can have the strategic conversations with the stakeholders, and you can have proper support for the end users. Yeah. And then finally, it's a community. We've got, I think we've got many law firms. I think we've got 10 law firms over 100 users. We've got 5 over 200 users. We've got, I think, about 40 law firms in total. And actually, they've developed a community between them. And our stakeholders forum, they will have, we meet with all of our clients on an annual basis over 2 days, and you'll see that the legal customers get together and they learn from one another and they bounce ideas off one another. So it's about being part of a community as well as anything else.
You answered the next question too, actually. What sort of size legal clients do you work with? Is there a size of firm that works best for your solution?
So on that front, we've got small startup legal firms that have broken away. So our smallest legal client is about 10 fee earners, all the way through to we've got clients in the top 50 with 300 to 400 users. So there's a good breadth and depth of legal clients.
I guess that the answer to that question is how long is a piece of string, right? We adapt the service, the spec to suit the client and their requirements, the number of users they have. Difficult question to answer, but I think you did. The last one deviates from the topic of legal IT onto security. We're all hearing a lot in the news about cybercrime. We certainly are. What are you doing to protect your clients?
It's a continual threat, if I'm honest, and a continual process. So we have a 3-pronged attack. We have a control and compliance manager, which is focused on security. He works with a dedicated ethical hacker internally, an internal employed ethical hacker that will look at our customer systems, will look at their web portals, will look at the systems they use and try and hack into them, and where we can hack in and find weaknesses, we'll work with the client to then address it. We're also taking clients through a cyber essentials program, because we can do what we need to do in order to be able to secure the servers, but actually 80% of all cyber activities and cyber crime is preventable through people and process. So that means that it doesn't matter how good and up to date your servers are, if your people and your policies and your processes aren't good, then you're going to have weaknesses. So we actually work with our clients now to take them through cyber essentials. So all of their staff go through cyber awareness, all of their local IT infrastructure, the phones, the the PCs, everything are all audited and managed, and so that's a big area where we come out of just the area of looking after the key systems, and we work locally. The other and final part we do around cyber security is we work with a partner called Phalanx, who specialise in cyber crime, and they're a big influence in terms of the defence mechanisms that we deploy, and then also we are part of the cyber crime information sharing program, which is called CISP, and so we get a lot of warnings from that program in terms of the threats within the region and within the UK, and more widespread than that, so we can take proactive steps when we see threats that other people are suffering. So the simple answer is it's a continual agitation for improvement on security. We will never ever be 100% secure, and no IT provider outsourcer can ever say they can be. But what you've got to do is be always vigilant, both at a hosting level, but also with the end users.
Makes sense. Nigel, do you have any Nigel P? Do you have any questions surrounding anything we talked about today you wanted to cover before we finish off?
I was fascinated to hear about the legal, having come from a legal background, the legal specialization. Are there any particularly challenging aspects about the legal sector that other sectors don't have in terms of IT?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's outcomes that are defined by the SRA, by the Sisters Regulation Authority, that you have to bear in mind when you're designing the technical solution. So, delivering IT for a recruitment firm, you have to take different steps to delivering IT for a legal firm with the SRA requirements in mind. And then you've got the specific requirements of the end users, the way that they track time, the way that they'll use extensive technologies around printing, the way that they'll use extensive integration between client portals and case management systems and things like that. What you typically find with a law firm is that they have a lot of applications that are all integrated in many different ways, and so I think law firms are often much more complex to support and deliver than other verticals that we specialise in.
You're talking about legacy systems and things from the past.
Yeah, legacy, but also new. So I'll give you an example. There's a great product out there at the moment called Recoup, which tracks time. That's a new application, but has a lot of complexities around hosting it and being able to deliver it. So, as the legal sector is under a lot of pressure to drive efficiencies and drive down cost and up on automation, so the requirement of IT goes up as a result. So yes, legacy applications, but also new applications are a continual demand.
Thank you.
And I guess that, gentlemen, brings us to the end of our presentation. Let me just double check there are no more questions. No. At this point, I'd like to jump in and make a quick word from our sponsor. Today's webcast is sponsored by Nastarian, a digitally native publication focused on opinion, analysis, and insight. If you're interested in reading fresh news and knowledge around what you do, the IT in your business, head over to our blog, blog.nasstar.com. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking part in this conversation, and thank you for watching. If anybody does have any further questions, call us or reach out to us by email. And Nigel R, thank you so much. Good conversation.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Nigel. Thanks to all the attendees as well today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.